It's time to give you guys my thoughts on the Alpaka Go Sling Mini. What's going on? How you doing? I'm Lamar, this is MFinResearch, and today I'm going to talk about the Alpaka Go Sling Mini. So I was getting my review together, I had it all just about written up, and Alpaka sent me an email this week, and they sent an email saying that the V2 was coming out. So instead of scrapping the interview, I thought what I'd do is take a look from the perspective of a V1 owner and compare the V1 to the V2. I wanted to see if the upgrades that they made address the issues that I have with the Sling that I've noticed over the past 5 or 6 months of using it. So now, just to let you know what we're gonna do today, we're gonna go over the changes from the V1 to the V2. We're gonna talk about the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, show you guys how I use it every day, and then I'm gonna talk about the changes that I hope they make for the V3. So for the material, not too much has changed. They've given you the VX21 X-Pack still, but in addition to that option, you've also got another option to use the AxoFlux. It's their fiber that they use with recycled materials. They're phasing that into a lot of their different products, so you'll see that on different products on the Alpaka line. So this time they've upped the denier on the interior from 210D to 300D. If you get the AxoFlux, you're gonna get the gray honeycomb pattern. And if you stick with the X-Pack, you're gonna get that same blood orange honeycomb pattern that you're used to. So now price hasn't changed too much. It's about the same price depending on if you get it on sale or not, depending on if you get the X-Pack versus the AxoFlux. You're gonna look at spending anywhere from $70 to $85 for your Sling. So that's pretty good price. It's still comparable. Glad the price hasn't gone up like so many other things out there. So probably the biggest change that you'll see on the V2 versus the V1 is that they've increased the depth by about 1 1/3 inches. So instead of it being a depth of 2.4 inches, it's now 3.7. That's gonna give you a little extra depth. Didn't really think that mattered to me. It's not enough right now to justify going from the V1 to the V2. I think the only thing that it will probably change for me, when I put my phone in there, I can store it vertically instead of horizontally. But that's probably the only difference. And yeah, there's a little bit of storage, but that's probably the only thing where I think it impacts it. The weight's gone up a little bit with that extra material. It's just under a pound, 0.99 when you do the conversion on the AxoFlux, and it's 0.88 when you do the conversion on the X-Pack. And then it's up to about 5 liters from the 4 liters before. So now on the exterior, and I'll show you my bag for an example, take a listen to this. So if you notice, the zippers don't have any paracord or anything like that. They're pretty noisy, and that's probably been my biggest complaint. I've been playing with different options, figuring out how I want it to look. I've tried a couple different knots. Right now, what I'm really digging is just the minimal approach. I'll see if I can show you that real quick. It's just putting the paracord through and just melting the end. So that's what I'm liking so far. It's a nice low profile, and if it falls out, maybe I'll go to something else. But for right now, it's held out for about 3 weeks. I think I'm gonna do the rest of them now that it's held out so good. So next time you see this bag, it'll have the black and orange paracord throughout. One thing that I do like, they added a carry handle. On this one, there's still no quick adjustment. I wish they would have made that upgrade to give you the quick adjust on the fly. There's also no detaching of the straps. On the larger and the smaller versions of the Go Sling, you can detach those straps. I don't know why on the middle one they decided not to take that option, but I really wish they would, because there's a couple other things, and we'll talk about those later, that you could do if they detach the strap. For the key leash, they've changed that from the normal style key leash to their mod key tether. It gives the opportunity to quick disconnect, and that's pretty cool. Not a big deal for me how I use my keys, but for some I'm sure that makes a difference. So on my version, what you'll see is on the top of each of the pockets, inside they have black piping. They got rid of that and just kind of cleaned that up a little bit. Happy to glad kind of changed. Not a big deal for me, but some people might like that look a little bit different. It looks like they made the divider on the tech pocket tighter, and when we go top down and I show you the bag and how I use it, I'll show that a little more in detail, and I think that's an improvement, because that's one of my other complaints, is that it's a little floppy, and we'll see that a little later. Let's start by talking about what I like and dislike on the Sling, starting with the dislikes. So first up, one of the things that I noticed is the straps are a little bit short compared to some of my other Slings. I could probably stand to use a few more inches if I wanted to wear it loose. If you're a bigger guy than me, you're probably gonna go to a different Sling, because I don't know if this is enough material in the strap to support my bigger folks out there. So keep that in mind if you're looking at this and you're a bigger person. There's no quick adjustment. A lot of times I like to adjust my Sling multiple times. For an example, what I like to do is when I'm trying to get my motorcycle jacket on, I'll have the sling loose, when I put it on, I tighten it up so it's nice and comfortable, and then I reverse that pattern when I take the jacket off when I get to where I'm going. That's kind of difficult to do in this particular sling, so if you like to adjust your stuff, a lot of times that's going to be a disadvantage for you. If not, you just like to set it and forget it, that's not going to be an issue for you. For some reason, the way the straps are set up, and I think it's because of the cant to them and making the bag pretty much symmetrical so it's ambidextrous, for some reason, I always find that the straps get twisted when I'm putting them on. Could be user error, but it's something I notice more often than not. So that's something that's a slight little annoyance. It's nothing a quick adjustment won't fix, but something I thought I'd point out because that may be annoying of enough deal breaker for you. I mentioned there's no quick adjustment. I will also mention that adjusting the straps is a little difficult trying to get that done. It's loosened up over time. I've pretty much resigned to just setting it and forgetting it. It works out, it's comfortable where it's at, but if you adjust your sling a lot in a day or in a week or whatever the case may be, you're gonna have some challenges and it's gonna be a little bit of an annoyance trying to get it adjusted here and there. It's not impossible, but just more difficult than most. The other thing, and I swear I'm almost done talking about the straps because most of my issues are with the straps because it's a fantastic sling. So where the hub clip is located, I'm not really a big fan because if you wear the sling behind you and you've got your keys hanging out, it makes you vulnerable for somebody just sneaking up and grabbing your keys. And I wear my hub pouch all the time and that bothers me too, just having that pouch in the back. What I wish they do is give you like a little slot or a stop on the strap to put it in the front. So I'll put it in a couple different places and I'll show you that too right here. What I do is I'll either wear it on the strap, I'll either stuff it in the bag, or what I'm trying out now is I'm usually wearing it in front of the fidlock. And that probably is going to be the most likely place I keep it. The only thing is when you switch the sling from front to back carry, you have to compensate for the hub pouch bouncing back and forth. Small adjustment, but it works okay. And it keeps the pouch in front of me, so I like that. So I think I talked about it already, but one thing that I don't like is the straps don't disconnect. You could really use this as a great tech organizer and it fits perfectly when you take it off inside of my EDC backpack. With that in mind, getting rid of those straps will make it the perfect little tech accessory. You could almost use it as a tech pouch, like I said, but Alpaka has a ton of tech pouches, so I'm sure they're keeping that in mind with this one, trying to differentiate between the two. But the other two, the larger and the smaller, both disconnect. I still don't know why the middle one doesn't. Also with that in mind, it doesn't compress. There's a lot of padding, so if you like to take your sling, put it in your bag flat, and then take it out when you get to your destination and use it there, it takes up a little bit of extra space. It can be done. It's not that difficult. I've done it. But just keep in mind that it's not going to lay flat as some of the other slings out there. Like if you think about the Belroy sling, that's pretty flat. And that in comparison, is probably, I'd say, double the thickness once you use it. But with that padding, you have protection for your iPad or your Switch or whatever you put in there, or your phone. So there's that trade-off. With that, that's the last thing that I dislike about the sling. Now let's get into the positive and talk about what I like. If you listen to the dislikes, it sounds like I really hate the sling. I actually really like it, but I want to be honest and give all of the dislikes and some of those things because they may be deal breakers for you. So now let's, like I said, get into the middle of what I like. So first off, it stays in position. Once you get it on your back, it's not sliding all around. It's going to be locked. I might put it in the middle of my back and it stays pretty much there the entire time. How they have the straps, as much as I've harped on how I dislike the straps, they do their job well. So it's something that I didn't think about because I always put my slings on the same way. The sling is ambidextrous, and that's a good advantage for those that like to wear it for left side carry. This is a good sling if you need an ambidextrous sling for whatever reason. This is a good one to consider for that. I had a comment on the Gear Hunters video asking if the fidlock buckle caused any irritation when you had a backpack on. So I didn't wear it while traveling. So what I did is I filled my EDC backpack and walked around for about 30 minutes with it on, with the sling in the front, with the fidlock buckle in the back, with my backpack pressing against it. Even after that 30 minutes, didn't know it was there. I'm pretty sure if it was in the bag longer, you still would know it was there. If you're worried about the fidlock buckle being a bother, don't worry about that. It shouldn't be an issue, at least as far as I can tell. I really like the organization. You've got pockets of different sizes. You've got, in the front pocket, you've got a little bit of division so you can organize it to your liking. I definitely like it. I definitely like how it's laid out. It definitely works well. I can use it in different configurations and not have to worry about where my stuff's at. I'm not guessing where my stuff is. It's definitely easy and intuitive to use. Just the right amount of organization where you can put everything in there and roll with it that way, or if you've got some thin pouches that you want to keep some of your smaller things organized, you could do that as well. With the strap, even though there's no padding on the strap, there's no mesh or any venting on the back for when it gets hot. I haven't worn it in the heat of summer. I've worn it in August and September, and in Texas, I guess that's good enough. I mean, we did get some 100-degree days when I had it on. So I guess that would be the summertime. I've worn it for hours on end. It's been fairly comfortable. And when I talked about the shape and trying to use it as a packable bag, that was a con. It's a double-sided coin because the other side of that shape, that rigid shape, that protection definitely makes sure your stuff is protected. So I'm definitely liking the padding that's in the front and the back, keeping my stuff protected. I've dropped it a few times, taken it off. It's fallen off the back of a chair, and I didn't have to worry about my phones getting messed up. So definitely glad they have that for the sake of protection. I just have to go other routes if I want a tech pouch or if I want a sling that I just want to pack. So now we talked about what I like and what I dislike. I'm going to show you guys how I use it. All right, we'll just start from the outside and work our way inside. So starting with the bottom, I've got a hero clip down here. At the front, at this front pocket, let's open that. Sometimes I put my work phone in here, but it's not in here right now. Shout out to George Define. He talks about this hand cream all the time. I started adding this. I've got my Louty Shuffle fidget in here. On this side, I've got those spoon and fork kit. I've got my Victorinox. I usually keep my AirPods in here, and that's all that's in there. Going in the back, I don't keep much back here. I just have a charging cable back here, and sometimes I put a field notes back here, but I moved it somewhere else. Or I think I took some notes on it, and it's in the house, so I don't have that in here right now. So now going into the main compartment. I don't think I mentioned it before, but there are lockable zippers on the main compartment. There's laminated zippers, so water, it's pretty protected against water, so that's a good thing if you've got an iPad mini or a Switch in here. So let's open it up, and no problems with the zippers. So we'll just go back here. I've got a charging brick, which I'm gonna finally replace. I want one that's USB-C. I've got hand sanitizer and my collapsible towels. I'm a few shorter than I was. I used a couple yesterday. Sugru. I'm gonna use that probably after this video. This is an Alpaka Access pouch. I don't even think they sell this anymore. I got this free for filling out a survey one time. And this is just my dad candy EDC. So this is lollipops, mambas, things like that for the kids. So just keep that in there. Never know when they'll need it. Never know when somebody else will need it. Never know when I'll need it. And so I think that's all that's in here. I'm trying to do this without looking into it. So I just keep this bandana in here. Tons of reasons to use it. Primarily why I use it is I've got a bald head. It sweats. It's a way to pat it down if I'm doing stuff. So keep that in here. No, I don't ride an Indian. I got it from a demo day and I just liked it. Tissues. Kids always need tissue. So I probably replace this every week. And then some Tylenol is in here. And I think that's it. So the only other thing that I keep in here is this is the back. This is that storage part. I usually keep my cell phone in this part if I'm gonna put my cell phone in here. That's usually it. I think once or twice I've carried a switch in here just to test it out and see how it fits. I mean, it works well. It does as advertised. Oh, forgot to mention, and I had this there just for that reason. This is the hub pouch that I usually clip on. Sometimes if I'm not putting my phone in here, I do put it in here. I have put it there. It fits no problem. This is where it sits, and you'll probably see a clip of that and a little bit on body where that works. But normally, like I was saying before, I just clip it right up here, and that's my favorite spot so far. And as I'm sitting up here, I feel like I'm starting to get quite the collection of Alpaka stuff. Now that we've talked about and looked at how V1 stacks against V2, let's talk about what I'd really love to see in V3. Very first and foremost, make sure that the straps detach like the larger and the smaller, the Nano and the Go Sling. Make sure that happens. Just make it consistent across the line. I know that the Go Sling uses one set of straps. I know that the Nano uses one set of straps, and I know that the Mini uses a different set of straps. Make it so that they all work. the same. Make it so these straps are able to be disconnected. I'd also love to have some sort of quick adjust mechanism going in the bag, so I don't have to take it off, adjust the straps, see if that's right, put it back on, adjust again, and keep that process going back and forth. I like the fact of just being able to adjust the straps on the fly, keep moving about my day. Give us a few more inches of strap on there. Make the straps a little bit longer. If you're gonna make them quick detach and looking at a different strap anyway, give us a few inches more. So next up, that plastic hook on the bottom right here, find some kind of way to make that to where there's like a pocket right here and it can kind of sit up there, because I hate, and you'll see it even in the video for the V2, that it's just sitting out there. Find some kind of way to tuck that in. That'd be fantastic. Just get it, makes it a cleaner line, and I'd appreciate that. You could tuck it on the bottom and it will go unnoticed, or you could tuck it back here because this part's gonna be against your body anyway. Since I lost my hub pouch a week ago for a day or two, add an air tag slot. I know Air's doing it a lot with their bags. Give us a little elastic spot to hide an air tag on our bag. And that, I think, would make V3 pretty awesome and just about the perfect sling. Let me know what you would add. Let me know what you think it needs to change. If you have the sling, the V1 or the V2, let me know what you think. If you have the Go Sling, the Nano, or the Mini, let me know what you think. Let me know what you would change. I'd love to hear your recommendations, because you guys come up with things that I wouldn't have even thought of. Let me know what sling you're rocking. It's always an idea. I'm always looking for a new sling. Looking for one right now, as a matter of fact. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I'm Lamar, MFinResearch, and I'm out.